It's been a busy day for me. New York International Auto Show. We had reveals for Hyundai and the new Palisade and the off-road XRT Pro. We also had Subaru drop the new Outback, Outback Wilderness, the refreshed Solterra, and the new Trail Seeker. And this is pouring in. Guys, I already made a video on Honda today too. I can't keep up. I'm falling behind. I can't be everywhere, everything, all at once. But I'm here to bring you Lexus unveiling the new ES. Guys, this is huge. The ES is the biggest selling car for them in China. And that's why it's being revealed 4/23 in Shanghai at the Shanghai Auto Show. It's going to be an insane auto show. Make sure you subscribe because I'll bring this, guys, I'll bring this reveal to you. I don't know what time of day it is. Maybe we should look. I don't know if it'll even tell us what time of day it is. It just says April 23rd, which is a Friday to May 2nd. That's the auto. Okay, at the press conference on the 23rd, company will provide details on the new ES. We have teaser images. We're going to break it down today. The ES is one of my favorite Lexus models. Can I think of a Lexus that I like more than the ES? Well, should I say currently better than the ES? Of course, there are legacy models. Okay, the LC 500. I feel like I could die and be happy if I had a Lexus ES, a GX, because I love the looks and the Land Cruiser heritage there, an ES, a GX, and an LC 500 with the V8. If I had those three Lexuses, I wouldn't need another Lexus ever again. And that's the current ES. The current ES doesn't really compete with anything else. It's front-wheel drive. Well, it has optional all-wheel drive, but four-cylinder, who wants that? Okay, you're buying a Lexus. You don't want a four-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. The hybrid's different. The hybrid's good. I can live with the hybrid. The hybrid's fine, but they're updating the hybrid here. All right. But first, we need to sift through these teasers together because I haven't had time to sift through them myself. So let's do it together and see if we can find any nuggets in these teasers. Maybe I'll play the volume. I just don't want to be copyright striked. Let's play some volume. Let's pump it up and press play. All right, some really funny sounds there, but I think the initial sound might be its EV approach noise. Yeah, and then they modified it to something else. Guys, as I've said before, it is being debuted in China. This vehicle will come to the United States January or so. It's a fully electric. They're calling it the ES 500E. There'll also be an ES 350E. Now, there will be a hybrid model, but I hear that's launching later in 2026. So maybe summer 2026, that's the ES 350H, which is using the Camry's 5th-gen hybrid system. Now, let's not even talk about tariffs. This vehicle is going to be built in Japan. Don't know how that would affect anything. That's so far away from now, right? The tariffs change on a day-by-day basis. Who knows what the world's going to look like in January? We have this approach of the vehicle. All right, here are the wheels. Massive wheels. These look like 20s. I think the current ES maxes out at 19s. So you're going to have bigger wheels here. You also have the look of the front end. The front end is looking very RZ already. Very Lexus RZ. And then we have this teardrop line on the door underneath of the mirror. Tails off right between the rear wheel arch, or right in front of the rear wheel arch. So you have a black line going behind the front wheel that goes all the way to the rear wheel, but then you also have a parallel line as black garnish. Now, it's an EV first and foremost. You see the charging port here. It's an EV. So what are these lines there for other than just design? I think that's it. I think our ES, maybe it's not all trims, maybe it's just like a high-end F Sport trim or something. And we'll talk about what kind of power the 500E will be packing here in a little bit. So that's teaser one. Same volume here on teaser two. And we know what this thing is going to sound like. It's going to sound like as it approaches. Light bar in the back. As you look right here, let me pause. You have the Lexus lettering. Gone is the Lexus emblem from the rear. You can see a very aggressive slit here in the rear bumper. The RZ has a slit in the rear a bumper too. Guys, I'm going to have to pull up images of the Lexus RZ real quick. So while the RZ gets a 550e, this ES is supposed to get a 500e. So in theory, it won't have as much performance, but maybe they change it. Maybe they launch. This is what I'm talking about. Let me minimize this. This slot is so similar to the RZ's little aggressive rear bumper, right? So, you know, it definitely looks like a part of the family, except in I guess is it sedan form or liftback form? Where the cutout is here, it looks like a fastback sedan. It's not going to be a 5-door more than likely because you can see the trunk line here. But I guess it's still possible, but I'm going to say it's highly unlikely. Oh, and then we actually had another image of it here. Guys, look at this. This is something I didn't catch the first go around. Guys, this is an F Sport badge. This F Sport badge looks like it has a black background. So this is an F Sport performance badge. I mean, this thing's going to have the 500e, could have 350 horsepower. We'll go over those numbers here in a little bit. I have them on a spreadsheet somewhere. All right, so F Sport performance badge here on this ES. So that's why you have these black garnishes. And this F Sport performance, this black line, is going to be seen on this F Sport performance model. All right, we have one more teaser before we get into spreadsheets and things. Okay, so this is the nose of the vehicle, like the Camry. And you could say the RZ. Let me pull up the front end of the RZ. Actually, unlike the RZ, because the RZ still has the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer sort of badge still in the middle of the front bumper. Lexus is not doing that here on the ES. The ES, they're bringing the Lexus badge up top, which is next generation Lexus Toyota design, where the RZ is kind of a carryover with the badge kind of in the middle like the RX. Remember, the RZ and the RX kind of came out around the same time. They're the big Lexus badge there. Well, now this Lexus badge is moved up above the camera area. I like that. Okay, I think it's going to look very smooth. Okay, we have a big reveal, guys, of the front end. This was more information I was expecting. And we're not going to look at the two-tone version. Because the two-tone version, this is just, it's really ugly. So let's go to the 500e. Yes, there is a 500e, and the ES will have a 500e. So we know exactly what this powertrain is going to be. Once we get to it, we'll get to it. But check out this black trapezoid thing. It's happening here too. However, Lexus seemingly has separated the nighttime lights down below with the daytime running lights. So they've essentially siphoned off the daytime running light to its own real estate, and it no longer shares the same spots as the nighttime lights. This looks like a cornering light right here. When you turn the wheel, a little light will spread where you're turning the wheels to. Charging port. Does this mean there's going to be a charging port? Now it's a mirror. Maybe we're looking at a reflection. So we're looking at this is probably the left side of the vehicle still, even though it looks like the right side of the vehicle. So that's a bit confusing. The Lexus badge, though, doesn't necessarily look flipped, but I don't know if I have enough. Okay, I'll just rule this as a possibility. And we have blacked out mirrors. I don't know if you guys see that. Blacked out mirror. We could have charging ports on either side of this area. And it would be NACS charging standard, I would assume, by the time it gets here, because the Subaru Solterra, that's getting NACS. You know, the RZ probably will have NACS by the time it makes it stateside. What does that mean? That's the charging standard Tesla uses. So you'll be able to charge this at a Tesla charging port. The hood has some nice curvature to it, or just say folds, origami folds to it. It looks very macho, almost like the IS500's hood. So guys, I want to also look at the image. Okay, side profile image, and we're going to find an image of the current ES and compare what it looks like side by side. So for example, let me just shrink this down. Just one line. I guess the Sonata has it too, or the side that we're looking at, the Elantra. This portion looks more Korean looking than it does compared to its predecessor. What is this, the 7th generation ES that we're on right now? Yeah, we're on the 7th generation. So the 8th generation, look at the light bar. The light bar pops off. What? The light bar juts out into space. That is weird. Does that not look weird to you guys? I don't know what to think about that. Maybe I'll have to see it in person. Let's brighten up the image too. Okay, so I went up and increase exposure, brighten it up. There's not enough detail here, guys. I mean, you can see the window line a little bit. Window line's fairly similar to what we have. But guys, with how this vehicle looks to me, it almost looks like they've extended the roof line a little bit further so you have more headroom in the back. The front end kind of looks fairly similar here with the proportions. All right, the A-pillar looks fairly similar. The roofline is the big thing, and then the rear end is also a big departure. It looks higher off the ground, but it could just be the camera angle and the lighting. Fully electric Lexus ES. Well, it's going to have a steering wheel. It doesn't have a steering yoke, seemingly. We'll see about that. But there's not a lot of information we can get from the side of this. So let's go to the spreadsheet. We saw an F-Sport badge, or what I believe I saw an F-Sport badge. So there's a possibility that we could have a 550E in addition to the 500E. Now, again, what's trademarked is 300E. This is likely front-wheel drive, 300 miles of range on the ES. Could be a lot of range. All right, you saw how aerodynamic that coupe design, that coupe sedan design looked, but it's only 221 horsepower. I say only because it could do a lot more. I feel like I don't know how many people would really want a base model ES 350E. Now it's been trademarked. It doesn't mean it's coming to America. I guarantee it's happening in China. The single motor the Subaru Solterra, guys. The Subaru Solterra just got refreshed and it's like 337 horsepower base, somewhere around there. You're telling me a base Lexus ES EV is only going to have 221 horsepower? That's a joke to me. Now, if it comes out with like 400 miles of range because of the single motor, then maybe it's like, well, maybe it was worth it. Or if you have a super high range edition of the ES, that's cool, but it's not necessary because there's going to be an ES hybrid that gives you 600 miles of range. So, and then you fill up in 5 minutes. So like a high range, like this just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like they should have a minimum 500E and then a 550E F Sport Performance. Now you're not gaining much. You're going to go from somewhere in this range of 340 horsepower to 375 horsepower, and you're only getting maybe 25 plus horsepower from going to the 550E. But maybe they can add things to an F Sport Performance model that like maybe adaptive dampers, maybe air ride suspension. They could add things to the 550E that the 500E does not have. These are my estimations on price too. All right. Now the ES350H is going to be on, it'll have e-all-wheel drive, probably standard. If you look at the Crown models, the Crowns have e-all-wheel drive standard, so would it make sense for the Crown sedan and the Crown Signia to get e-all-wheel drive standard, and the Lexus version does not? If it does not, I would be disappointed. All right, so ES350H will have somewhere around 240 horsepower is my estimations, 240 horsepower. All right. And then for sure an ES3 or ES500 is coming. Now, just because we get this vehicle revealed for the Chinese market doesn't mean we'll get the exact same power numbers, range numbers. Their cycle's different over there. It's very lenient. So they'll post insane range numbers, and I'll bring them back down to the EPA reality during that reveal. Yeah, and there could be different engine configurations or EV outputs. And there could be different batteries because, well, things coming in from China are tariffed differently than Japan. Even though it's made in Japan, we could see, let's say, Panasonic or Toyota, because Toyota has their own in-house battery plant that they bought out from Panasonic in Japan. So they'll have probably Japanese-made batteries and not Chinese CATL batteries or something like that, at least for our market. In China, they could have so many different types of battery packs to go into this vehicle, even though it is made exclusively in Japan. Until Lexus has their own 2027 battery plant and manufacturing hub in Shanghai for Lexus, I'm pretty sure all the vehicles are imported into China and sold under the Lexus brand there. All right, where you look at Toyota, they have joint ventures with FAW and GAC, I think is the other one. So anyways, Lexus ES, it's one of my favorite cars of all time. It is smooth, efficient, reliable, comfortable, quiet, luxurious. And some of you might be saying, Kirk, is just an upscale Camry. Technically, yes, this will still be on the K platform like the Camry is, but if you drive a Camry and it's terrible seats versus a Lexus and it's godlike seats, you'll be like, okay, this is why people buy an ES just from the seats alone over a Camry. Wow. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. What was it? April 23rd. I'll see you guys back on the channel. I don't know what to think of the design so far. I think it's going to look really cool from some angles. The side profile, I'm not sold on yet, but we'll see. You can kind of see the window line here. Not sold on this like fastback roof style, but maybe it'll look a lot better if you put an F Sport wing on the back, but that might reduce, right? It might reduce range. So everything is becoming super focused on aerodynamics, and this ES, we're going to see that for sure. And it might take a hit in terms of design and desirability, or at least appealing design to the eye. So, all right, I got to shut it down. Long live the ES. May God bring us a hybrid here in the United States of it alongside the EV. The EV's fine. Some people want the EV, but I guarantee the hybrid will be the better seller. You know, rest in peace V6. I know that's just the times we're living in. Rest in peace V6 on the ES. It's always had a V6. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.